Congressman Caleb Collier says that this proposal is meant to protect their Second Amendment
I'm
rights.
proposing that the city of Spokane Valley issue a proclamation stating that our city is a Second Amendment sanctuary city.
Welcome to the fire.
Today on Church and State, German ice cream parlor offers cricket flavored scoops.
Cricket? Did you just say cricket?
Cricket.
Okay, and we also cover Jesus Revolution, the movie. Is it helping or is it hindering? And are we on the cusp of a re-revolution?
Plus, proof that Starbucks is racist. Hello, Christian Patriots, and welcome to Church and State, where we strive to plug into the pew and plug into politics. I'm your host, Caleb Collier. With me, as always, Pastor Gabe Blomgren.
Leave it to you to find ice cream that is flavored with crickets.
Of course, man.
Dude.
It's going to be an interesting story. I guarantee you that. All right, real quick for our audience, make sure to check out churchandstate.media. Please go to our website. Take advantage of all of the fine sponsors that we have. We got some great ones there, Gabe. Now, we already talked last episode about MyPillow. Let's talk a little bit more about Z-Stack, because once again, hey, if you haven't gone outside today, winter's not done with us. And Gabe literally shaved in protest over winter.
I'm done. I'm speaking faith to the realm known as what we around here in the Pacific West call winter 3.0. So like right now we are in the midst of, you see everyone around you. My wife's been sick. She's still fighting something tough and she's moving forward. Right now you can be battling back in your own way against her by staying healthy. How are people going to do that?
Through the Z-Stack. Look, just go to churchandstate.media, scroll down to all of our fine sponsors, and click on the Z-Stack, and you're going to get some of the highest quality supplements and vitamins and minerals you can put your hands on. Remember, this is from Dr. Zelenko. If you don't know who he is, I don't know where you've been. The guy is he was stud in combating COVID-19 naturally. Yes, he didn't have a single patient die, and how many patients did he have? Hundreds of patients. Not a single one died because of what he was able to provide.
I'm going to highlight for $55, and you can subscribe and save a little bit if you subscribe and get a reoccurring order. But $55 for the Z Flu gummies. These things are awesome. I'm gonna bring these in studio, and then there's also a kids Z-Stack, which for kids it's a dietary supplement as well. So check this out on our site. What do they have to do for us to get a kickback? Because we get a huge kickback.
This one is actually set up. If they just go to our website, churchandstate.media, and go through that, they don't even have to use the promo code.
So you don't have to just go through churchandstate.media, where I am right now. Those of you who are on the computer or on Facebook, you can see this very website that I just linked to. Through Church and State Media is where you get it. Please help us out. Purchase some of this.
Awesome. Also, hey, we love getting emails from you guys. So if you want to contact us, Church and State 1776 at proton.me. And I'd like to say this as well. There are a number of you, and you know who you are, that have donated to this ministry. And we just so appreciate what you guys have done for us. We obviously are still raising funds to make sure that we are online and we are producing quality content. And so thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for doing that. All right, Gabe. German ice cream parlor with cricket flavored scoops. Does this not sound delicious to you?
Sounds nasty.
Oh, come on now, man. Klaus Schwab tells us that we're going to eat bugs and we're going to be happy.
Dude, between my bacon being touched and abused, and like I've already made like a complete protest to all forms of turkey bacon.
That's not bacon.
I've also said I will never eat an Impossible Burger. What else? They also have genetically engineered meats now. What are they going to touch next? Okay, I've already found out that M&M's, the shiny stuff on the outside, is made with beetles. And then, dude, you told all the Church and State listeners that raspberry flavoring comes from
beaver glands,
beaver butt glands.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of that raspberry flavoring that you love, that so raspberry tea.
You're going to touch ice cream.
No. Well, you know what else? And I love Chick-fil-A. I love them. Do you like Chick-fil-A?
I do.
They're great. So. Great. But now they got some nasty cauliflower chicken burger thingy.
Ugh.
Dude, do you like cauliflower?
I do.
I hate cauliflower.
I like it.
There's another vegetable I hate. People are going to think I'm anti-vegetable on this show.
You are.
No. I like some vegetable. You know what I just showed my kids the other day?
What?
They'd never had it before. Now, growing up in California, we had them all the time. Artichoke. They'd never had it before.
Oh, I love. There's so much work though.
No, but they're delicious,
Yeah.
man. It's like a vegetable ice cream. Because you literally, after you're done peeling it, right? Then you cut off the heart and then you dip the ends in the mayonnaise or the butter.
No, mayonnaise.
Dude, I like it with mayonnaise.
Butter.
No, either way.
Butter.
Either way is acceptable. But anyway, yeah, cauliflower. Dude, do you want to bite into a nice juicy chicken sandwich and have it be cauliflower?
No.
No, you don't want that. Do you like it make a cauliflower crust on your pizza? No, you don't.
No, I don't.
No, you don't. All right. Anyway,
Unbelievable amounts of gas is what that's going to produce.
off
That's about
subject,
it.
but okay. So they're telling you, and this is the insidious nature of what they're doing here. All right, they're already telling you that you're going to have to get used to eating bugs. This is on the agenda for the World Economic Forum and all these other global elites. But the way that they get you there is they get a novelty item first, right? You go to an ice cream store and you're like, you're adventurous. You're the type of person, something a little bit strange. Do you ever do that?
I do.
Okay, yeah,
I'm
right.
very proud of the fact that I tried an ice cream that was pine
Pine nut.
needle flavor. No, it's pine needles. Tasted-
Pine needle.
Yeah, here in Spokane, they have it downtown. It has a hint of evergreen pine needle taste. So imagine your Christmas tree
Yeah.
in ice cream.
Do you ever lick an air freshener in your car?
No,
Okay. Are you
But-
sure?
it smells really good and it tastes good.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's different. But I would, that being said, I'd probably try it. So you go to this ice cream store and they're like, hey, what's the special? Well, it's cricket flavored, and not just cricket flavored. We also add dried brown crickets on top. Doesn't that sound great?
You get a little bit of like actual cricket at the top.
Yeah. I mean, you've already seen these suckers that have like bugs, insects, like a scorpion or something in it, right? And you grab that as a novelty item. You go, this is how, all right. So this is a greater extension of what they're attempting to do to us to get us used or accustomed to seeing bugs on the menu.
And here's the creepy thing. The fact that he can produce the cricket flavor is due to a European Union regulation that allows the use of insects in food. What I'm wondering is, what was ever stopping us anyway? And why is the UN trying to allow us to eat this stuff?
Yeah. Well, and they've already proven, we've talked to doctors, Gabe, before on this show that have said that we as human beings should not be consuming bugs because there's a lot of viruses that can be passed on from insect to human, and we should not be consuming them. So once again, look, are we on YouTube?
Yeah, we're on YouTube.
Okay. They have already killed so many of us with the V.
Yeah, the V word.
The V word. All right.
The
And now
clock.
they're trying to get us to eat the insects as well, which will make us sicker and sicker. And I'll tell you this, a sick society is so much easier to control.
Yeah. Well, if those of you who were concerned about how these crickets died, were they terminated in a respectful manner, it says that under regulation, the crickets may be frozen, dried, and then used as a powder. But
What's with the vegans on this?
I don't know.
Aren't they upset about this? I mean, can you imagine being frozen to death and then ground into a powder? That doesn't sound very nice. The
That's not
vegans should
appealing.
be up in arms about the plight of the crickets.
So true.
All right, let's move on to Starbucks, Gabe. Now, I don't like Starbucks. Starbucks?
I at all costs will avoid, very much so, ever purchasing anything from them. Like the last time, sadly, we admit to this, you and me were on our way to Oklahoma, or no, not Oklahoma. Where were we? Tennessee.
Yes.
You and me and your wife and my wife, we all get ready to go out on a plane. That's the only coffee. So purchase a Starbucks, but I'm going to avoid it like the plague.
Didn't you get a raspberry flavored coffee too, by the way?
No,
You don't
No
do
beaver
raspberry
juice.
anymore, do you?
No beaver juice. Sorry.
But here's the proof that Starbucks is in fact racist. They've just developed a new line specifically for Italians. And what do they do for Italians? Well, they add olive oil to it. Do you want olive oil in your coffee, Gabe?
That's
Does that sound
disgusting.
delicious to you?
I've heard
No.
of butter.
But here's my greater point here, Gabe. Yeah, butter and coffee is not bad. But here's my greater point. So as an Italian, I am a quarter Italian.
Mhm.
Shouldn't I be offended by the fact that Starbucks thinks that, hey, if we want to make a coffee that's going to be popular in Italy, all we got to do is add olive oil to it. Because those Italians, you know, that's all they do is just consume olive oil. Shouldn't we be a little bit offended by this? Shouldn't I be? You're not Italian.
I think this is proof that they are definitely searching for some type of weird marketing they never stop doing. But to me, this doesn't offend me because I'm not hypersensitive to this.
No, this cultural appropriation, and I am triggered by this. I am so triggered by this. I'm so angry
I think
that they would just assume that Italians want olive oil in everything that they consume.
It is a little bit broken record, like, you know,
this is cultural
it's
appropriation.
very Mamma Mia. Do me a favor, just say forget about it.
Forget about it.
So,
I know a guy.
Are you gonna sue?
No, because I know a guy, and I'm probably going to get him kneecapped. Howard Schultz. Oh man.
So let's think of some ideas while we're here. Let's think of some other ideas off the cuff. What are some? You know, I think maybe some Cholula in a coffee for Hispanic people.
They already have Mexican hot chocolate.
Like, but I just think, you know what? Let's just go down. Let's see how racist we can get. Maybe like some type of cabbage or pierogi, like for
the Polish
Slavic people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would work. Yeah. Why not? I mean, they'd probably love that, right?
Maybe you know, I don't know. For your Indian people, you got curry. You gonna throw some curry in a coffee?
I would actually probably drink that.
Did you try that?
But that is cultural appropriation.
We do.
How far are we gonna go on? Are we really just trying to get banned? Okay.
No. Filipino. What are we gonna throw in there?
What's that weird?
Fish?
What's that weird duck thing that's like they eat at?
Yes.
What is that nasty thing?
It's a laboot or a balut.
Balut. There it is.
Balut.
Yes.
You're gonna throw? Ooh, that's disgusting. I want to vomit a little bit because balut. Those of you who don't know what that is, if you go and you do a mission trip to the Philippines, you can enjoy a tasty little sad little fella. They actually cook a newborn chicken.
Well, it's still in its egg. Yeah,
it's in the egg. They cook it, and you eat.
It's like half formed.
Delicacy.
Yeah, it's just disgusting.
This is not a delicacy. But anyway, you can have a balut coffee. Keep going. What else?
I mean, man, I don't want to get as.
I've done all of these.
I know, because I actually like the fact that the audience thinks you're more controversial than me, and I'd like to keep that. Okay, I do have an idea. I don't know if I'm going to say it.
Is there a coffee for African American?
I was about to say watermelon flavored.
Okay, that is so racist. You just crossed the line.
Why?
No.
Why? Because we can't engage in.
But if Starbucks did that, no, if Starbucks did that,
they'd be up in arms.
Oh,
absolutely. That's my point. They're doing this to the Italians by saying that they just want olive oil in their coffee.
Dude, Chris Rock's always hitting on how purple drink, that's what they call you know, purple drank. You know, if somebody threw purple drank, you know, which is Kool-Aid inside coffee, which have you ever had coffee Kool-Aid?
No.
You mix hot coffee and Kool-Aid.
That sounds disgusting.
Another disgusting experiment. Okay, we need to get off this.
All right, so let's move on to Jesus Revolution. There's a lot of ways you can ruin coffee. You know the best way to ruin coffee, since you brought it up?
How?
Make it decaffeinated. That's the worst thing you can do to coffee. Does not decaffeinated coffee make you angry?
No, I think decaffeinated coffee is just simply a joke. It's useless.
What's the point of it? Yeah.
Even at night, I can drink coffee.
Yes.
Well, I want to read a post. I'm going to keep the person anonymous. Okay. This person said they went and saw Jesus Revolution this last Sunday. It was incredibly moving. I wept when the church was filled with barefoot dancing, singing Jesus loving hippies. I felt the sting of judgment from the other side, because you'll see this. We're going to play the clip, followed by an overwhelming feeling of acceptance, knowing that when I worship genuinely with my shoes on, scarf in hand, I'm not even doing anything that new. Not only has it been done decades before me, but it's Jesus approved. Going to a typical church service has always been a challenge for me. I don't want to sit in rows. I don't even want to sit still. I want to dance, sing, praise, and be free. I want the Holy Spirit inspired song of life to pour out surrender from our surrendered hearts, unrestrained by societal norms or the spirit of religion, unhindered by comfort zones and other people's opinions. The more I get to know Jesus, the more I feel free and want to be in my expression of his love. The more I see that world, the church needs this kind of worship. So this movie is so dichotomous. It is both. And I'm going to play the clip here and think on that, because right now we are in the middle, very, very much in the middle of a Jesus revolution. No, I wouldn't even say middle. we are in the very tip of the iceberg, because undebatably there's been 24-hour worship in Lee University, 24-hour worship in Asbury.
Well, longer than that.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying it nonstop is what I mean.
Yes.
The totals I'm not really sure on, and that's not the point. My point is the whole area is, and some people have the perspective of, is this a move of God? What is this? How do we know? Can we be safe on this? This is all going down at the same time that Jonathan Ruluimi, who plays Jesus, just did an amazing movie with Kelsey Grammer, some other great names, on the story of the Jesus movement that happened in Southern California. My wife and I saw it. It was tremendous. So we are going to play the intro.
Hey, Square.
I am not a square.
Think we should invite Greg this weekend.
What's this weekend?
These people are hippies, rebels against old-fashioned authority.
I think these kids need help.
What they need is a bath.
You're passing judgment on people you know nothing about. Maybe that's why your church is so empty.
When God walks in here, brings me a hippie, I'll ask him what it's all about, because I do not understand.
This house has a very good vibe. There is an entire generation searching.
Slow down, man, slow down.
Just in all the wrong places. If you want to reach my people, you need to speak to them in a language they understand.
If I bring them in, I'm going to lose my job.
We can only walk through doors open to us. In your church, that's a door that's shut.
Probably noticed we have some guests here today.
It was
I'd like you to meet my new friends. Welcome.
The next day, everywhere.
They don't belong here. Half of them aren't wearing shoes.
They're staining the new shag carpet. They need our help. If you feel like you're misunderstood and judged, you will find forgiveness and freedom right here.
That was awesome.
Now that door is open any time of day. And if there are some who don't like that, well then that door works both ways.
All right, Pastor, let's begin.
I was almost done with this, but then you did what nobody else would even dare.
This thing that we found, I feel like I belong.
You're gonna need a bigger church.
Our country is a dark and divided place, but now there's hope, and it's spreading. This is your home, and I want you to tell all your friends about it.
So let me ask you, do you like hippies?
You know what? My daughter is a hippie. She's a hippie wannabe. But
Your daughter's what, 20?
yeah, she's
She can't
all
be a
into-
hippie.
Well, she's a wannabe hippie. It's becoming very
She's like bohemian.
dude,
or something.
macrame. Yeah, it's boho chic is what it is.
Yeah,
It's like
no.
if you could imagine, my daughter likes plants and macrame and natural stuff, and this is becoming more and more popular. But yeah,
I don't like hippies, and it's probably because of my upbringing. So for the audience, I was raised in this, and so I've talked about the fact before that I was born.
Were
in
you
a commune.
barefoot most of the time?
Probably. I mean, I was a kid, a little baby. I don't know, but I was raised in a commune, which actually ended up later on in life figuring out was actually a cult. Okay, but my dad was part of the Jesus Revolution. He was a Jesus
He actually
freak.
probably
He-
met Johnny.
He did.
Lonnie Frisbee.
No, in fact, I'll get to that. But,
Yeah.
but my dad's beard was to his waist. His hair was down to his waist. I mean, he was all in for the Jesus
Shirtless?
freak movement. Well, let's hope not. But he actually did know Lonnie Frisbee, and in fact, one of his best friends, who, well, I won't say his name, but I've known him for years. He was at my brother's wedding. This individual actually lived with Lonnie Frisbee for about a year. When one of the hard times that Frisbee went through, he actually lived in this guy's house for about a year.
Who's played by Jonathan Ruluimi in this movie, like the Jesus guy from Chosen.
Yeah. So, but there was the movie is a very feel movie, Gabe, but Lonnie Frisbee is somewhat of a controversial figure.
Oh yeah, and they hint at that. They expose him for some of the statements he was making at the time, and they show kind of, like I told you, it's dichotomous. It shows you Kelsey Grammer, who's very, very kind of like formal, but he's like you saw there in his church, he was willing to open up his church and let Lonnie in. And that was the gateway, I believe, for getting that hippie community movement started. There would have not been, I'm synonymous with, without Chuck Smith being willing to open his doors and without Lonnie Frisbee being willing to bring him there, this never would have happened. The both were necessary. The most touching part in the movie, Caleb, is when Chuck Smith, because one of his congregants said, I'm worried about the carpet. You know what he does? He washes every one of their bare feet before church.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most selfless things.
Yeah. So
yeah,
you made the comment off camera, Gabe, that I was more of a Chuck Smith and you were more of a Lonnie Frisbee, right?
Absolutely,
and I agree with that. Like the idea of allowing a hipster, skinny jean wearing pastor into my life, man, that makes me a little bit angry inside. But here we are, best friends, and just working for the kingdom of Jesus.
I feel like Ebony and Ivory is playing in the background. Side by side on my piano.
No, I mean,
keyboard.
I definitely am more in line with that Chuck Smith type of personality. I like the traditions. I like the history of the church and how we've gotten to this point. And you're like, throw the doors open, let's go, right?
Yeah, we were talking at the article or one of the conversations we had winding down in our last show was homosexuals. The LGBT community is now touting that they're going to be bringing firearms, AR-15s, various ways to defend themselves during basically this drag queen story hour. And we got on the subject of, I think homosexuals, the broken, especially those who are hurt and abused, have any trauma or past relationships of just rejection by their own parents or rejection by the church, they actually, I threw out there, have potential in being the most reached, the most impacted, and there could be a wave, because this is what happens. Satan is so stupid. What he does is he increases the gas pedal of pain through sin. And during the 70s, through the Jesus culture or pre-Jesus culture, we had what, Caleb? We had the free love and we had the drug revolution, tune in, turn out, and drop out, or whatever,
And that's Timothy O'Leary, yes.
Yeah, they were putting on the gas pedals for truth, but what it ended up doing is the drug culture began to strangle people. It began to take them down into a dark, dark place. Lonnie Frisbee himself was one of those people. Greg Laurie in the movie, you'll see his testimony. You'll see him struggling with heroin. But Caleb and I both agree that broken right now have a shot at finding Jesus more than possibly even a rhino. Talk about that. Elaborate. Like because man, we know a particular individual. She's like typifies a rhino because she's Queen Pantsuit. She's basically, who I'm talking about. There's more chance, probably one of these LGBT community people, to get through the eye of the needle than her.
We've talked about before, Gabe, politically, how the rhino, likening it to the Bible, is that lukewarm, right? And so I think that's probably where your statement is that the homosexual community is that cold, right? It is totally turned off from any message of Jesus Christ, redemption, salvation. And so, but because they are so broken and so hurt, they could so much easier be touched by Jesus Christ. Whereas the rhino, the lukewarm, their life is okay. They feel like they've got everything together, and so they're not necessarily searching for that healing.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to for me. Now, go ahead.
In our closing minutes, man, I want to talk about this because Lonnie Frisbee was absolutely, potentially a cult leader. He was pretty much raised like Marilyn Manson.
He was raped as a child by his babysitter. His parents didn't believe him. He was
sexually assaulted at 15. Okay. Basically, he had his first homosexual encounter, and then he was involved in the gay community. And he ended up
the drug community,
ultimately dying of HIV.
Yes.
It's so abysmal of a life, but God used it.
So Chuck Smith, when at the funeral for Lonnie Frisbee, he stated that Lonnie Frisbee was a Samson type character. And honestly, that resonates with me because the individual clearly was being used by God. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And yet he was so extremely troubled. And that doesn't mean that God can't use you. Samson obviously was used by the Lord, but what a troubled character in the Bible. right? And ultimately he paid a great sacrifice for that, right? So yes, I believe that Frisbee was in fact used by the Lord to touch hippies.
He was looking for truth along with the rest of that whole generation, Caleb. If there's one thing about your parents' generation, my parents' generation, is they were looking for truth. They were tired of the stereotypical norm. Cut your hair a certain way, do life a certain way, but it was just bringing out the same stuff. It was funny. He even tried his hand. Lonnie Frisbee tried his hand at hypnotism, and he dabbled in the occult, no surprise. And he talked incessantly, even after he was saved, about UFOs. I would guess this guy was talking about the Nephilim.
Yeah, and I mean, he talked about the fact that he would do LSD and read the Bible. So clearly there were some problems there, Gabe. My concern here with this whole Jesus revolution is I'm a student of history. So what did we see come out of this? We saw spiritualism come out of the Jesus revolution.
Right. And we saw Calvary Chapel.
We'll see that as well. But what I'm specifically talking about was there was a move towards spiritualism, not necessarily Christianity, where you could have, Jesus, what an amazing figure, right? But we just need to be spiritual, okay? And that's a problem because it can quickly lead you down the wrong road, which history shows that, in fact, a lot of the hippies who came out of that movement did actually just embrace spiritualism, Gabe, not love of the Lord necessarily.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you embrace the I like to say it, whether you know it or not, if you embrace the creation more than the creator, you've lost your way. And the whole hippie thing is to embrace creation, embrace the vibes, embrace the chakra, the energies. Okay, that's embracing the creation more than the creator. Yeah. But then I also know this: there's people who are uptight and never really open their eyes. Like that first moment you see the sunrise over the top of the Grand Canyon. Some people never experience that because they're so deep in the minutia, so deep into the legalism, so deep into the, hey, it's always been done this way. So I think spiritualism is not always a bad thing.
Interesting. That's a whole nother subject, Gabe, for a whole nother show, comparing spiritualism to Christianity and how they, in your opinion, can mix, in my opinion, can't mix.
Yeah, definitely. I think spiritualism. So to have the Holy Spirit is to be spiritual.
I mean, yes, definitely. You need that Holy Spirit to be spiritual, but spiritualism is another matter entirely.
Oh yeah, that's basically the cart before the horse.
Okay,
the horse is Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, Father. If he's in front, you're in submission to the rest of it.
I guess stay tuned for the next episode. All right. Church and State is sponsored in part by the Constitution Party, empowering you to put faith into action. And with that, Church and State is out.
God bless.